Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
Away we go.
I want my picks back. I want my picks back. Thor, did you watch it 3 times or 4 times last night, draft day?
Just
once?
once.
On loop throughout the night, or no?
Just once. I do sometimes rewind my favorite scenes. When he says he wants GD David Putney because he feels like it, that I have to watch that one like 3 times. But yeah, it's an annual draft Christmas Eve tradition at the Nystrom household. So we wait till the sun goes down, put up draft day, and then once that movie's done, we're ready to go. So we're ready to go now.
It is so great. Like you know, there's certain Christmas films, right? A Christmas Story, all the you put it on its head by saying, forget that. Christmas is fine.
Thor has a draft tree. Like, people have Christmas trees. Yeah. Thor has a draft tree where he hangs ornaments of his favorite draft sleepers.
Yeah.
With the Bowling Green tight end.
This is Thor's It's a Wonderful Life. You know, shows once on NBC on Christmas Eve. I cry every year. Thor cries when Costner says, "I want my picks back."
He is a Jimmy Stewart like character in that one, Sonny Weaver Jr.
He is.
What an eclectic cast! Every year it becomes more eclectic. P. Diddy is involved in that movie. He's the agent for Bo Callahan, which maybe we should have known there was an issue with Bo Callahan right at the start of that movie, but. Your viewings and your interpretation start to change the years go on. You know, it's great cinema. You can often say that about.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah. It's appointment viewing this time of year. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna do our annual mock draft, final mock draft roundup here. Thor, you have a mock draft out, and we're live here on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, just hanging out with you guys to set the scene. Tonight we will be live from the Fillmore in Minneapolis for the 4th annual Purple Daily Draft Party, which we'll talk about. But Judd, MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air is powering this mock draft roundup here today.
And guess what? They are a first-round pick. In fact, they are one of one. There's no question. There's no trade downs. If you need help in these areas, guess what? MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air to the rescue. How do I know? Because Sports Dad's used them, and they are absolutely fantastic. And now you can as well by joining their Total Comfort Club. For $8 a month, you get an AC tune-up, a furnace tune-up, and a plumbing check, all included. In other words, get ahead of problems before they start. Members also, like myself, get priority service, which means if you call them and have a problem, there's no waiting days for a tech to show up. Boom, they're right at your doorstep to fix the problem. And if you do need repairs, members get 10% off service, so give them a call, 651-615-4292, or call MSP.com. Call MSP.com. Join that priority club and make sure that your house is safe and sound by getting the first overall pick. That's my friends at MSP.
Also, our friends at Black Stack Brewing throughout the season have their beer available inside the stadium. You can find it in their expansive tap room, which is the 2nd largest tap room in Minnesota. You can also find Black Stack Brewing all across the state of Minnesota in liquor stores, expanded distribution into Wisconsin, Nebraska, South Dakota. World-renowned craft beer. And like I said, one of the coolest, largest tap rooms in the state of Minnesota. We've done a Purple Daily Unplugged event there. It was awesome. They have a 190-inch big screen TV for you to watch whatever's happening that day. Great place for group or work gatherings to Black Stack Brewing. And then a reminder that, again, tonight is the 4th annual Purple Daily Draft Party presented by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. And we're going to be live on the Score North YouTube, or the Purple Daily YouTube channel at 7 o'clock for those of you that can't attend. For those of you that are attending, stop by Bricksworth right across the street from the Fillmore, 3:30 to 5 o'clock for the pre-party. Chuck Foreman, Vikings legend, will be there. Judd Zulgad, Vikings podcast legend, will be there as well. We've got custom pint glasses when you mention the Purple Daily Draft Party, and the Kill the Keg special beer as well. So come hang out with us. Okay, Thor, you've got your final mock out.
I want a mock.
And I'll let you speak about the details here, but you've got Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, 1, 2, 3. Patriots are kind of a swing pick there. You've got them taking the linebacker Walker from Georgia. Ashton Genty to the Bears, who trade up to 5. Love your aggressiveness here. You got Dallas trading up for the Arizona receiver, McMillan. You got all kinds of crazy things happening here. But you have Shedeur Sanders falling to the or falling to 15, but the Giants moving back up into the first round to get him at 15. And you have the Vikings, and there's a bunch of other crazy things here too, but you got the Vikings trading back with Buffalo to eventually the 33rd pick. You can tell us about this, to take Donovan Jackson, guard from Ohio State. So Vikings trading out of the first round entirely here. Give us the gist of your mock here, your final mock.
Yeah, as far as the Vikings perspective, we've talked about the idea of them bailing out of that selection, moving down. Obviously, you flesh out your picks, and in my exercise, I did that via 2 trade downs. Firstly, with the Bills, who need interior defensive line help, they came up and took Derek Harmon, and then moving back a couple slots with Cleveland, who would be looking up to move up to the end of the first round to put the 5th-year option on Jalen Milroe's contract. The Cleveland Browns, their offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees, was the Alabama offensive coordinator 2023. Milroe's the best stretch of Milroe's life with football. So if you do that, you're the Vikings, the fair trades on the chart. You essentially, to move down from 24 to the first pick of the second round, you're moving up from the 97th pick in the third round to the 62nd, the end of the second round with the Bills, and then you pick up 4 6th-round picks to flesh out your picks. Someone made the joke, this is too Rick Spielman-y for me on Twitter, but to get from the pick allotment that you have to a more normal sort of distribution, that you would have to do something like this, either the very end of the first round or early second round. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking Donovan Jackson. I think Donovan Jackson's criminally underrated. I think he's the best pure guard in this draft. People always talk about Tyler Booker. Tyler Booker can only play in one scheme, and he's a little bit of a one speed, one note kind of a blocker. It's that phone booth Colossus kind of a thing. Donovan Jackson, he kicked out to left tackle last year, and it might have been the reason that Ohio State ended up winning the national title after Josh Simmons, their previous left tackle, had a season-ending injury in October against Oregon. I thought that was wildly impressive that Donovan Jackson on the fly buttoned down the blind side for Ohio State. He had a tremendous career. You have the position versatility there, but I believe he is a guard for the next level and will be an immediate starter there. I think he's in play either way to go at the end of the first round, but I think he'd be just what the doctor ordered for the Vikings, stepping immediately at left guard.
How potentially, because of all the question marks about where guys might go, Thorsky, how crazy do you expect tonight to be? Because it feels like we've had no trade so far. Which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the latest we've gone with no trade since like 1967. So once it starts, how nuts do you think, how wacky do you think this could get tonight as far as trades, repositioning, guys going where they're not expected to go, etc.?
This time of the year, I'm in kind of the car wash, and it's like spot. And it's like, you'll be on like ESPN Sioux Falls, and then, Madison, and then this one and that one. And then there'll be the streaming like betting shows. And so you're kind of trying to get your moorings as you go. And this morning on one of them, they on a bet, that one of the bet ones, BetQL, the host told me that there is a prop on an offshore book. It's the only place where this prop came out. 5.5 trades in round 1. If I had access to that book, and maybe we'll have to figure out how we can get on there. If I can find a window today, I'd be hammering the over. Yeah, it has been all quiet on the Western Front all spring to where it's sort of unprecedented over the last 20 years. You mentioned the no draft pick trades in advance of the draft. And then also every team has their first round pick.
Yeah.
When's the last time there was a class like that? I don't know if, certainly during my time covering the draft, that is anomalous on both accounts. And I think the reason for it is we have the less sure thing quarterbacks at the top, and we have the less sure thing elite non-quarterback prospects. I think you have 2, maybe 3 if you count Genty. For sure, everyone agrees Hunter and Carter, if you toss Genty into that too. But the whole manifestation of this is you have less locked-in spots at the top of the board. Right. And because of that, there are more iterations of the way that the draft could play out. So why would you, for instance, like the trade that the Vikings and the Texans made last year in advance of the draft, where you're trading for a later first round pick? Why would a team do that in this class when, depending on scenarios, the way things go, the top 8 picks or so, it could totally change the progression of things and push a guy down the board that maybe you wouldn't otherwise think would. I think we are going to see some of that. Daniel Jeremiah said something interesting this morning too that I agreed with, that you might see some picks tonight that people are going to think are reaches based on the narrative to this point. But in this class, with the less non-elite guys there at the top of the board, you have more the solid, super solid prospects in this class, and less of the truly elite ones at the those leverage positions, the super valuable positions. So yeah, I think we're going to see some zaniness tonight. Once you see the first 5 picks play out, and then teams have a better idea of what's going to be, what the scenarios could be into the 20s there, I think that's where you start to see some teams get aggressive.
You mentioned Daniel Jeremiah from NFL.com, and we think he's probably on the Mount Rushmore of mockers at this point. Let's go through our little mock draft roundup here, starting with Daniel Jeremiah. Well, starting with Thor, who we just did, and now second, Daniel Jeremiah. He has the Vikings taking Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle from Oregon. And you've spoken highly of Derek Harmon. So if it winds up being Derek Harmon around 24, you're cool with that?
All good with Derek Harmon. Yeah, I think he's one of those guys in the bucket. He gets to 24. You do consider sticking and picking. And in my mock draft, Derek Harmon went in the 24 slot. It was just the Vikings, trading out of it with another team. And that, that's the Vikings choose your own adventure of the dichotomy that I was just talking about. When you get to 24, the position groups that you need, how well stocked are they at that point to open up the possibility of a trade down? Right. But yeah, Derek Harmon is going to go right around there. I think he's a good fit. We know that the Vikings like him. We know that the Vikings have done a lot of work on him. And it's a guy that would project to come in. You're clearly the top rotational defensive lineman next year. You'd be IDL4 on the depth chart. But with all the mixing and matching they do and all the rotational stuff they do, Derek Harmon would play quasi-starter snaps next year, essentially backing up every position, rotating in for every position. And then, of course, after that, you would be inoculated your defensive line in the future. Right now, you have you like your starting lineup of those 3 guys, but they're all getting older in the tooth. You need a contingency plan, a guy that you can say 2 years, 3 years from now, that guy for sure is going to be a starting defensive lineman. That's what Harmon would do for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, Thor, what is your list of as we project for tonight? What is your list of guys who might fall to 24 where you would not consider a trade? So like if you're crazy and this guy gets, or these guys, let's say it's three names, get to you, and you've got an opportunity to trade back, but you're like, I can't. This player is too good. We like him too much. Realistically, how long do you think that list is, and who would you have on it?
My list would be very short for that, because in any situation like this, I don't want to get myopic about, that guy got here, so we can't listen to calls. It's like an asset thing where what do we think this guy's fair asset price is, and then what are we being offered in the trades, for that slot, right? So then you can try to ballpark the value either way of this decision against that decision. But for me, I would put Kelvin Banks on that list. If Kelvin Banks gets there, I don't want to say I would not pick up the phone, but you're going to have to be quick with your offer, and it's going to have to be substantial. It would be that sort of a thing. That would be one. Honestly, that would be one of the few guys. The other ones, it depends on position buckets, right? And how deep it is. Like I love Gray Zabel. I think Gray Zabel would be the perfect fit. But if you still have the couple guards on, if you still have a couple guys that could immediately start for you, and you also have the couple interior defensive linemen who are on the board that you would be happy picking, you also have, let's say, Malachi Starks there as well, where it's like, all right, we could hop back 6 picks. One of these guys is still going to be there, and we're going to flesh out the picks. So so with Gray Zabel, it'd be closer to let's listen. But with Kelvin Banks, that one would be my let's turn the card in.
And Thor has Banks going to Miami at 13 in your mock draft. Some of the other names that we've maybe frequently seen mocked to the Vikings that we have snagged in our simulations. Jahdae Barron, the cornerback from Texas, you have going 16 to the Cardinals. Walter Nolan, the Ole Miss defensive tackle, going 17 to Cincinnati. Kenneth Grant going to the Chargers, a Harbaugh guy there at Michigan. And then Zabel and Harmon are right there at 24, 25, but you have the Vikings trading out. Field Yates chimes in here.
I want a mock.
Old Field Yates picking a guy that Thor put on his do not draft at 24 list. He's got the Vikings taking safety Nick Emanwari from South Carolina. And the write-up is Minnesota's safety room is starting to change. Cam Bynum is now with the Colts. Harrison Smith is 36 years old. Emanwari has exceptional physical traits and ball skills, dominating at the combine after a 4-interception season.
Do not want. I don't want him at 24. If you trade down to 40 and Emanwari falls down there, okay. I wouldn't argue too much with it unless Xavier Watts is there, and then I get annoyed again. But I know that Emanwari is going to go above Watts. But again, I think the game is overblown there. It's not a guy that goes east to west as well. He is an all-time mutant as far as north to south, but he's a glorified linebacker. He's really going to help your run defense. Yes, I acknowledge that. But again, my issue is in coverage. He's still the glorified linebacker, mutant linebacker guy. You have to use him in drop zones, and the efficiency within them, it comes and goes. He gives you some flash plays in coverage for sure. When he guesses right and triggers correctly, he can jump passing lanes. I acknowledge that, but he gets paper cut a lot in low leverage coverage situations. So yeah, it's tremendous run defender, but I'm looking for more value out of the number 24 slot than a strong safety that plays in the box who is a run defender.
I think also from the outside world of mocks, which is not you, Thor, but from the outside world of mocks, I think part of the problem with the process is you're trying to make sense of what teams need. So like you look at guys that are projected highly, right? And you see safety, Harrison Smith's coming back, but I would guess he's done. Who knows? And they just lost Bynum. So I think this is more of a projection fit. But the issue there is, and this is where the presence of Flores, I think, is enormous, right? Everything that you just said, if Flores very well might agree with, and I think I said this on Monday with you, Thor, but I think the problem here is, if you're a mocker, you look at the Vikings need a safety potentially, and they need a guy that can do a lot of things like Brian Flores wants. And it looks like this kid can. But the reality of what you said is where Brian Flores probably looks at the tape and goes, no, that's not a fit. X, Y, and Z, here's why. So I don't have a lot of fear that they're going to take him. I'm sure that they would talk him up, because if he gets to 24, why not talk him up? But I do think that there is an outside perception of what teams need sometimes that doesn't necessarily translate to how teams are thinking.
I totally agree with that. Yeah. And over my time doing the draft work, I trust very little of what I see reported, because people out there, you need to understand, if someone reports a team's intentions with regards to the draft, they are printing something that the team wants out there. You don't go into a poker game beforehand and tell the poker report, who is it, Norman Chad, Phil? You don't tell Norman Chad after you were dealt the cards. Great. Hey, Norman, I got ace king suited. Right, we're about to play the handout, but this is the hand that I have, and tell all the other players at the table. Right, it doesn't make your job any easier. So teams are not putting stuff out there that are accurately reflective of what their actual intentions are. You have to read between the lines, and you have to make some situational assumptions. And I think this is an example of that. If you didn't want to draft Nick Emanwari at 24, and you're the Vikings, and one of your media contact buddies asks you your opinion of Nick Emanwari, hey, I was just thinking about it in my mock. Like, man, he's a stud athlete, and you guys need a safety. And, is that something you're considering? What are you going to say if you're not considering it? You're going to tell that guy, oh, yeah, we love Emanwari. Yeah, he's versatile. He's this, he's that. I'm just using this as the case-specific example, but always you would convey to the person, try to report something to put people off the scent. Because it doesn't help your prerogative to say, oh, yes, he is the target there at 24. Then that person reports that information. Teams behind there know, if we want a Emanwari, that's where we have to get ahead of. So
let's keep going in our mock draft roundup here.
I want a mock.
And then we'll do our own simulation to close out the draft preview season.
Are we next? Is it Schrager next? Schrager, I didn't like his.
We did the Schrager one yesterday.
I don't want Hampton either.
So you're out on Amari and Hampton at 24.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Are you out on Hampton? Are you low on Hampton, or are you just, it doesn't make sense for the Vikings?
I do think Hampton's overrated, yeah. Yeah, all that talk of like, oh, is it, Ashton Genty, is it a two-tier, is it a two-back tier one? It's like, no, it's not. There's an enormous gulf between a clearly generational running back prospect and then a good one, right? Like, and Hampton, there are limitations there for sure. As far as the receiving game, only swings, screens, and dump offs that you can do. You have to manufacture those touches for him, get an envoy in front of him. And then he doesn't have a ton of wiggle. Like he's, I like of course, straight line speed at his size, but there's just not a lot of wiggle. He takes a lot of hits there between the tackles, doesn't make people miss. He's not trying to make people miss. I don't think you see like the opportunity for him to be a better player in the NFL than college. I think his game is better suited for college. I mean, now, having said that, it is a game that translates to the NFL, but I just don't think it translates to it better than we've seen in college. So for me, that's especially in the stacked running back class. Like my whole thing with it is this is the year you're going to reach up for Omari and Hampton with how many backs we have in this class. Like Omari and Hampton is going to be off the board by 20. The Broncos are going to pick him if he's there at 20. He certainly could go above that. But my thought is like in this stacked running back, why is this the year you're going to use a top 20 pick on Omari and Hampton or top 24? In this case, it doesn't make sense, especially with what the Vikings have, moving to them. You already have that running back room. You want to draft immediate help. That's your left guard, arguably your IDL, maybe a safety. Although the way that they're talking about Theo Jackson, I'm getting ready for his Hall of Fame induction.
That's
right?
that's led by Judd's camp
I put
notes,
the gold
by
jacket on the guy 2 years ago when they picked him up from the Titans. He's incredibly smart. And by the way, he's been in all of, so there is a select group of guys from that position group, safety, basically dynamo, that meet, and he's part of that group.
Judd's camp note, I've always said this, they get slept on. That's my 1-1 in the summer.
I don't feel that they do.
You
I feel people are all over them. I'm bringing you training.
Not slept on.
On the running back though, just quickly. First of all, if I may speak for you, Thorsky, I believe that you would put Caleb Johnson as high as Hampton or higher. And the second thing is the pendulum is swinging now too much, boys. Okay, Genty's a special player. Look at the skill set. So it's a hybrid skill set. But the reality is this. We are now going back to, well, running backs matter. And I'm not saying that they don't, but what's the most important lesson the Vikings have learned? Running backs matter, but if it comes to like Swiss Army knife backs, offensive lines are even more important. I feel like we're swinging this pendulum of, well, look at what Barkley did. Now, this is what everyone can do. Okay, first of all, it's Saquon Barkley. He's very special. But second of all, I don't understand why in sports the pendulum always has to be way over here or way here. Why can't we slowly make our way back to, the running back? Okay, let's see how this goes. I'm growing very frustrated now with the running backs are back in. It's like fashion trends. It's like damn the 70s
Hollister
are back.
ripped jeans are back
Go
in.
get bell bottoms. Everyone gets bell bottoms. It's like we don't need to do that.
Bell bottoms.
I agree with you. Yeah.
So you're out on a running back? Is that fair to say?
I'm not out on it. I just think it's going way back towards, well, look at what Saquon did. Okay, that's what everyone's going. No, it's not what's going to happen, folks.
I mean, just one stat for you guys. Ashton Genty last year broke 151 tackles. Omari and Hampton, this big beastly running back and yada yada, and 70. He broke less than half the amount of tackles that Genty did. Right? Like, that's just one example. Genty clearly is a far better receiver. And again, he was a slot receiver junior year of high school, played plenty of slot in college. He's really, really good at that. He will beat you beyond the line of scrimmage as a receiver. Omari and Hampton won't, and Genty is the far superior runner as well.
Two other quick ones here, and then we'll do our own.
I want a mock.
I found Todd McShay's latest mock here. So it's McShay/report.beehive.com. I think he now has a YouTube channel. Wishing McShay. I don't know, but anyways, like, how about like ToddMcShay.com? Can we? So Jade Barron at 24, and we've talked a lot about him. And then one more for you here from noted NFL YouTuber Brett Coleman. No. So he has the Vikings trading Jordan Addison to the Patriots for their second-round pick, and he has the Arizona receiver McMillan falling to the Vikings at 24. Brett Coleman.
I want a mock.
Wow. Okay, I got to wrap my head around that one. gonna have to send a DM after this and yeah, see what old Brett was, what he's hearing, what he's thinking. That one's interesting. That one, I think McMillan gets down there? No. Have I heard anything about the Patriots and Addison? No, I mean, not in particular, but that would be Patriots definitely need receiver help. I mean, connecting some of the dots, it makes sense. But yeah, the window for it, because you would have to come out of this class, of course, with an immediate starter receiver. And of course, he's done that in his exercise with McMillan. But if it's not McMillan, it's not Golden. Are you going to be comfortable with your receiving, the non-Jefferson receivers next year? That's what it would have to jive. But it's an interesting thought experiment, very interesting thought experiment. And I like the idea of getting another second-round pick there. So,
but again, if the kid falls to 24, you're on the clock. That could be a conversation then. Like that. That's the point of where I think this is going to be crazy tonight. Like, you're not going to make that trade unless you can get the guy, the receiver potentially that you want, right? But if you can, and I will say this, and this is what I've said since the day the season ended on Addison. There's two things that have to scare you. One is the back-to-back off the field things. The first one, driving 118 or something, that's disturbing. The second one is really disturbing. And the other thing is he's going to be suspended. And the other thing is if you're ever going to maximize value on his rookie contract and you're going to trade him, it behooves you to do it now.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's time left. And so now that you're basically sending the Patriots a great contract. So I'm just saying that there is a world in which I think the Vikings, I'm not saying that they're going to trade Jordan. I'm saying that they would entertain it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can definitely see the thought process. But yeah, to your point, that would probably require McMillan or maybe Golden. But McMillan, I like the sounds of that. McMillan across from Jefferson. And then that second round pick you can do something else with. Because we're the Patriots pick in the second round, I still think you'll have access to your immediate starter at left guard, be that Donovan Jackson or, one of those guys. So it is interesting. And then fleshing out the picks and perhaps they could get a little bit more than that second round pick. But yeah, that's at least interesting. But to open up that scenario, it would require one of them receivers falling. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Sure.
All right, boys, let's do our own. We're kind of tight on time. We have about 12 minutes left. We got to send Dex to the ballpark. We got to get going for a big afternoon. Thor's got stuff going on. So we'll kind of fly through this, but I'll give you a scenario. How about you put your golf clubs in your car and then you drive your way down to the Meadows at Mystic? Huh?
That's right. I remember last year at the Purple Daily Draft Party, we had guys front row being, Dex, we're teeing off tomorrow. You're going to be there. We were still wrist deep in more draft coverage, but maybe you're in town or maybe you're coming up as we speak, up 35 or up 169. Go to golfthemeadows.com to book a tee time. Whether you're coming up today, whether you're heading back south this weekend, Golf the Meadows, it's in Prior Lake. It's about 30 minutes south of the Twin Cities, a scenic, beautiful golf course, GPS, carts, a lot of good stuff there. Golfthemeadows.com to book that tee time.
Also, Judd, let's talk about Neos Elite Performance, headed, by the way, by former longtime trainer for the Purple, Eric Sugarman.
Yep, Shug does great work. And he's a guy that when I covered the team was on the cutting edge of a bunch of stuff, and he's doing it again. The experts here can help you with chronic pain. So what you get here is cutting edge regenerative medicine and cellular IV therapy designed to get you going again without invasive procedures. This is white glove service delivered to your home. In other words, no trips to the doctors. The team at Neos is going to come to you. So if pain is stopping you, stop the suffering. Neos Elite's therapies are designed to reduce your pain, restore function, and get you back doing what you love. In other words, back on the golf course, back on the court. No surgery, no downtime, just results. Schedule now at neoselite.com. That's NEOS elite.com. Shug has done great work with the Vikings, and I guarantee you will be satisfied if you work with him and his associates as well at Neos Elite Performance.
You'll be satisfied with a Roku TV, bringing the whole family together for draft weekend. That's right. You can gather up the kids, gather up the dogs, the cats, maybe order some dinner and sit down for a weekend of college players meeting their dream scenario, getting drafted by an NFL team. But yeah, I mean, I kid partially, but the Roku TV, at least in our living room at the Mackey household, is the thing that connects us after a long day at work or maybe it's a long weekend or whatever it may be, and you're sitting down on a Sunday night, and it's the thing that connects you at the end of the day. Also for sports viewing, they got the sports zone on the Roku menu, which helps you organize and figure out which channel or which platform is the sporting event on that I'm looking to watch. You can find out way more about these awesome TVs, Roku.com, or learn more and shop at a retailer near you. Easy for me to say. Let's go.
I want a mock.
All right. All right, let's pop this up on the screen here. We got 10 minutes to fly through our final mock draft simulation with our guy, General Manager Thor Nystrom, FantasyLife.com. So we're going to start this up and see what happens at 24, gentlemen.
Parameters, or are we playing this one straight?
Let's play it straight. Let's let the draft come. The parameters are let the draft come to us, Thor.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Okay, so we're on the clock here at 24. I'll give you a little summary. Cam Ward, number 1, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, the Arizona receiver McMillan, 5. So he's not going to be available.
24.
Yeah, not in this one. Ashton Genty, 6. Shadur Sanders, 21 to the Steelers. That's gaining a lot of steam. And then there's some key players like Kelvin Banks, Derek Harmon, off the board, Kenneth Grant off the board. We have 6 trade offers. The best players on the board, according to PFF, are Walter Nolan, Malachi Starks, and then edge rusher for Marshall, Mike Green. You can compare that to your Thor 500, but Gray Zabel sitting there, Matthew Golden. You want the trade offers?
Yeah, let's check those out. I do have Walter Nolan 15s on my big board. I really like Walter Nolan's game. But yeah, let's check out and see what we got. Walter Nolan, he compares himself to Aaron Donald, but I comp him to Gerald McCoy. You know, there's not a lot of guys that are that quick, that are that sort of. I think of him as country strong. Oh. You know, yeah, very disruptive. So he would be the guy I'd be considering right there.
So the Lions are calling at 28, the Commanders are calling at 29, Chiefs at 31, Titans at 35, and then the other ones are way later in the second.
What do you guys want to do? You want to go Nolan? You want to trade down?
Judd?
Let's stick and pick.
Stick and pick?
All right, let's do it.
All right, Walter Nolan,
yeah,
you
nice
are
addition.
a Minnesota Viking. Congratulations.
I like that.
I don't think we've taken Walter Nolan yet because we're always trading down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or he's always gone way beforehand.
Yep.
Okay, now I think we have 3 trade offers. I think this would be the spot to acquire some extra draft capital.
I think we got 2.
So the Niners are calling 3 picks behind us at 100, the Browns at 104, and the Steelers at 123.
I do business with the Browns or the 49ers because they both got all the picks. So both them, they got more picks than they know what to do with. They're gonna be making it rain in trade negotiations this weekend, like Judd at Club Sway.
You know, that's what I do with my guy Asante.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Getting
so
the scoot.
If we move back 7 slots to the 104, we can pick up the 179 and the 192 with a 71% chance. If I kicking the 255, it's a 58% chance.
I'm down.
So we know we've got that. Oh, let me see if they do this. Nope.
Ridiculous.
All right, cool. We'll call the Niners.
Yeah.
Okay, the 100, the 97. Let's see. Will they give us the 113? No. The 138. The 147. My pick's back. The 160.
And then can we get 252?
39%. I mean, we might as well try.
Let's try.
Oh,
let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
It's on,
dude.
All right, let's do this.
All right, so we're going to resume draft. We're back on the clock at the 100. We've now picked up 2 additional picks. So we go from 4 picks in the draft to 6. We're sitting on the clock right now.
All right, yeah, give me a scroll down.
We got our defensive interior already, so we're good there.
Man, I like Carol Fannin.
I know you do. He's that stud tight end from Bowling Green.
Well, we're gonna, this is a good pick.
Dude,
we need a tight end here.
Do it?
I mean, they do need a tight end.
Let's do it. I want to take Carol. I like Carol Fannin.
I mean, let's not question Thor. Let's not have Thor question Thor.
Shattered every receiving single season FBS record for the tight end position last year at Bowling Green.
Just got better.
We'll stick and pick these last 4 here for time purposes. So 139 back on the clock. Here's the
probably
board.
need the offensive lineman here, or let's see, offensive lineman or the cornerback, right, or secondary in general, maybe.
Well, you got some running backs on the board here too, man. Brashard Smith is sitting there.
Oh yeah, we're in running back alley here. Phil, would you put up? Can you do the offensive lineman, and then secondary?
Sure. I'll put tackles up here too, and then secondary. There's a safety. There we go.
All right. Mello Dotson's a great name, by the way.
It was a good football name. Robert Longerbeam is also a good football name.
That is a good
Longerbeam.
I think funny story for you guys on it was Saturday or Sunday, I forget. But the who are the my buddies Connor and Trevor Sycamore that do the I was trying to remember their I think it's called NFL Draft Stock Exchange, the podcast. But anyway, they did a live 7-round mock. And I was watching some of it when I got back home, the very end, and they were in like day 3. I think it was Mike Renner who was on, and he was waxing poetic about Logan Brown. And then he said where he had Logan Brown on his big board. And so then I texted those guys. I was like, how did someone beat me on? He has him even higher. I have Logan Brown 97 on mine. And I think that guy is going to play guard in the NFL. I think this is a very good position convert type guy. The athleticism there, 6'3.5", 311 with the 9.5 RAS, and was big time recruit. And then his career flowered out when he transferred to Kansas. But yeah, Renner was laughing at me. It's like, you're not getting Logan Brown higher on your board than me, but let's make him a Minnesota Viking now.
Wow, there he is.
All right.
This is a possibility to factor in early, I think, in the left guard conversation. Nice. And then, of course, he has the tackle experience.
Love that, dude. Love that.
Right.
Jeremiah is going to be very happy about that right there.
Yeah, we're sending him there.
Okay, we got 3 picks left. We're back on the clock at the 160. So we've got defensive tackle, we've got our tight end, we've got an offensive lineman.
We looking safety or cornerback here?
Yeah, let's go secondary with this one.
Okay. Unless there's a BPA that it's like, oh man, that dude is
right.
So here's the secondary guys.
Oh well. I'm probably going to go.
We also have the 187, by the way, so we can.
I'm going to, with this pick, I want to go with Quincy Riley. I have Riley 70th on my board. Cornerback 9. There are some similarities to Jair Alexander there. Jair's a little bit more athletic than him, but come from the same college program. You have the same thing where they're a little bit smaller for the boundary cornerback, but both of them are crazy feisty with really good feet. So I think Quincy Riley's got a decent shot to start some point in the NFL. And he is the older age for sure, but the experience is all there with him. And I think that's a guy potentially could contribute early.
Quincy Riley from Louisville.
All right.
Puts us back on the clock with the 187th overall pick.
Oh man, now I want Fedone, but we already took our tight end. So
I will tell you that I don't want to spoil the Purple Daily Anonymous tip line, but the Vikings do need a QB2. Or a QB3, and we did pick up an extra couple picks. So if you, I know you're a Kyle McCord guy, and we're sitting here at 187.
Wait, can we rewind just a little bit? Did you just insinuate that we have an anonymous Purple Daily line about
it'll be
we're not revealing
it'll
anything
be
else.
part of the live Purple Daily draft party tonight.
Yeah.
We will unveil more Purple Daily Anonymous tip line. Yeah,
I might be texting you guys right after we get off this show. Okay, let's go with Kyle McCord.
Oh,
why not?
Dude, I love this.
I like Kyle McCord for a number of different reasons. In a vacuum, I like Kyle McCord.
Just the thought that a quarterback, just the thought
dude, this
planted
dude
in your
threw
brain.
for
You took
almost
Kyle McCord. I love this.
5,000 yards last year for Syracuse.
He was number 3 PFF in wins above replacement last year. His game really improved when he went from Ohio State to Syracuse. You wouldn't think it, but he sort of got let off the leash where before he had to go through the progressions, even to the better players. But with Syracuse, if you saw it early, they let him attack wherever he wanted to on the field. Denotes the coverage look he's getting real quick and makes strong, confident decisions. I think there's something to work with there. The tool set reminiscent to both Chad Henne and Kirk Cousins coming out. So, and then of course we talked about Kyle McCord is the guy that Ohio State gave the quarterback scholarship to instead of JJ McCarthy. And that's why JJ McCarthy went to Michigan and vowed to kick Ohio State, you know what, and then never lost to him. So I think it would be interesting to bring in Kyle and then, that little rivalry and everything in practice.
You're doing that to your son? How can you?
My son loves competition. And yeah, like the thing of like the teams that passed on him or the recruits that Ohio State went with over him, like that stuff only, lights a fire under him even more. So he might enjoy that too.
So we're sitting here with our last pick, the 252. I filtered out running back, linebacker, safety, and another position or two of need that we haven't really touched on. So here's what the board looks like for you, Thor.
I think I'm going to go with LaQuint Allen here. Funny enough, Kyle McCord's college teammate last year at Syracuse, but LaQuint Allen is a very good receiving back. I see a lot of similarities between him and Rachaad White. You know, they're taller running backs that it's sort of an angular playing style. LaQuint Allen, I don't think he'll ever be a guy like in the NFL where it's like early down stuff. I think there's always going to be better runners than him on a depth chart. But I think he is going to play a ton on passing downs. He's a very good receiver. He can go out. You can shift him out to the slot. You can even shift him out to the boundary. And he's a really good pass blocker. Like, this is 100% pure passing down kind of a guy. But I think he's going to be good at that. And you think about, at this point, the late picks, a mix and match guy for the two guys that you have. I think LaQuint Allen's a guy who has a skill set where he can take some passing down work year one.
Here's the grade.
All right.
Now, again, we already got 1 A+, so this is all just bonus. But they did give us an A+ on Walter Nolan as I scroll down here.
All right.
Okay, C+ on Harold Fannin, C- on Logan Brown. They're arguing with the Thor 500 here.
No.
C+ on Quincy Riley, a B on Kyle McCord, A- on LaQuint Allen. Overall, an A-.
Okay.
Oh, that's still an A. That's not bad for three C's.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure
They're
that
nitpicking us on the positional designations and these sorts of things, but and then Quincy Riley, they say, there's 3-4 cornerbacks better on the board at that time. I don't think so. I think I'm rating PFF wrong.
Well, yeah, we've assumed that the whole time, Thor.
Yeah.
Thor 500 versus PFF.
You don't need to defend yourself. You're better than PFF.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for jumping on with us here on the happiest but also busiest day of the year for Thor Nystrom. You can find his work, fantasylife.com, the Fantasy Life YouTube channel and podcast, where you guys are going to be doing live and on-demand stuff throughout the weekend. So, and then we're going to catch up with you again after the draft is over to just get your full thoughts on what the Vikings did once we let all 7 rounds settle. But yeah, man.
If I may, Thor,
has arrived.
If I may, have yourself a very merry draft night. May your picks be great. May the 500 that you put out be reflected accurately.
Wow.
Incredible. Buckle up. We're heading for an interesting night and an interesting weekend. Buckle up.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. He's Thor Nystrom. Find him on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at ThorKU. For the Sports Dad Judd, for Dex, I am Phil. We will see you for the Purple Daily live stream on the Purple Daily YouTube channel from the Fillmore. It's the 4th annual Purple Daily Draft Party presented by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
Get your left guard, Kwesi.